It's America's 250th birthday, which only half the country seems very excited about celebrating, but we are having our own celebrations over here. And while this isn't exactly hot ones, I am about to feed Anthony and Michael something spicy. So pour a drink because we're bringing you into our group chat about politics and the next generation of leaders in our country. This is Political Playlist Happy Hour.
Welcome to Political Playlist.
All right, are we ready, guys?
Happy Hour.
Happy hour.
We fucked that up so bad.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Political Playlist Happy Hour. I'm Michael Kristoff.
I'm Anna Muskie-Goldwyn.
And I'm Anthony Barkat, and I'm nervous.
And I am nervous, too, because let me tell you about my spice tolerance. It is
white
about
boy
as
low.
high. It's about as high as the attendance at Trump's state fair, which is to
God.
say very low.
That
So-
state fair, man. Like, what was going on
My
there?
It's sad. It's really, really sad. Capital SAD, exclamation point, sad.
And we'll get into talking about the fair, really a larger conversation on patriotism because it's almost July 4th, a little bit later in the episode. But to start things off, I am coming here today with a surprise for Anthony and Michael. I asked them if for this special holiday recording, if I could bring a topic of mystery that they would have no idea what I'm going to talk about.
And to add just a little context to that, I have no printed out outline. I have nothing in front of me.
Michael's so stressed.
But a coffee, and I am terrified. I'm white knuckling it on my chair arms right now. I have no idea what this episode is going to be.
You know, I do love like doing surprises for people, but I hate them on
Being
me.
surprised.
Love
I
giving
hate
the
being
surprise,
Well,
hate receiving.
It's good. I feel like I'm making both of you guys step outside of your comfort zones.
And we don't like that.
I know. So, in honor of the 4th of July and my continuous crusade to highlight the importance of having hot people in office,
Okay.
I am going to share who I think are the most attractive members of Congress. And I want you guys to weigh in, hot or not, but not just on their looks because we're not that shallow. Also
Wait, that's
on
really funny. I just got a text from John Ossoff. Last ditch request for you, John Ossoff. I think he's looking for money, but hopefully he's trying to make our list.
You know what? Well, spoiler alert, he's on
That's
it.
incredible. Okay.
But I'm also going to ask you, hot or not, on some interesting policy positions that I found from
I
these
love
people and
this.
proposed legislation. And true to Political Playlist, these people are all 45 years old or younger, which excludes some of our older hotties in Congress. If
like
you're-
old Mitch McConnell.
You know, if you like a little sugar daddy, sugar mama situation, this is
Yeah.
maybe not the episode
Chuck
for you.
Schumer.
Schumer. I will say, who could like definitely fall in the like hot dad vibes?
Mm.
John Thune. John
Totally.
Thune definitely
oh, yeah.
has
He's
the,
like Silver Fox, 100%.
like Silver Fox from Connecticut. Like
100%,
yeah.
even though he's from North Dakota.
I know, which he doesn't feel like he feels like a new Canaan dad. Yeah.
But with that said, shall we get started, folks?
Let's do it. I love this. This
Okay.
is great.
Here we go. Let me pull up my list. We've got some. I will say that if you're listening to this on audio only, you might want to consider, if you have the time, to go over to our YouTube channel and you can see all these beautiful faces for yourself. But also, you'll probably know a lot of them, and you can also just type them into your phone if you want to see who we're rating.
But don't
hot
do
or
that
not.
as you're driving. Don't type as you're
Don't. Yeah,
driving.
if you're driving, please just stay on audio only. We can maybe describe their faces. But I'll leave that up for Anthony. He just has a way with words. So.
It's a round face,
Yeah.
2 eyes.
By the way, speaking of photos, can we just, for those watching on YouTube, Anthony, there are an absurd amount of photos and pictures and collage
That is
boards
true.
behind you in this office right now. Are you planning like a anniversary party for somebody?
I feel like Anthony's family is one of the families that just has like photos fucking everywhere.
We have
Yeah.
so many photos, but the funny thing is there's 3 of us in my family and I'm the youngest.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of photos of my sister downstairs in like the main area because she's the attractive one. But
Yeah.
then like my brother and I, they're like only upstairs. So like, which no one will ever come to upstairs.
Wait, that's so
Great.
funny. Oh, I love
And then
that.
like you go downstairs, you're like, yeah, that's my sister. That's my sister. Oh, that's a family photo. None by
Is
myself.
So what you're saying is guests at your house think that there's only one child who these parents.
Basically.
Definitely.
And like being the third child, right? Like parents don't take photos of
Yeah.
them just because they're
They've
like
been
life
through
is
it.
so difficult.
Yeah, they've
You know, they're
they've
like-
all said the novelty has worn off at that point, I think.
Yeah, but I think the third child's probably the best.
Sure, spoken like a true younger child.
Well, anyway, let's get
Let's
to
get
it.
started.
Yeah, let's just-
okay.
Freaking do it.
So, first on the list, Congressman Maxwell Frost.
Frost.
So Maxwell Frost is
Okay.
the first Gen Z member of Congress. He was elected at 25 years old in 2022. He's the former March for Our Lives organizing director, and he is a gun violence survivor representing the area of Orlando. And the important piece of policy and legislation that I pulled for him is that he pushed the Biden administration to create the Office for Gun Violence Prevention. So first, let's start superficially. Hot or not?
I think got some real Brooklyn, like cool artist vibes, hot thing going
Mhm.
on.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I would agree with you. I would agree
Yeah.
with Michael on that.
And then how do we feel about the Office for Gun Violence Prevention?
I think steaming
So
hot.
hot. So
Yeah.
hot.
Steaming hot.
Honestly, I love the idea.
Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to our next person.
Okay.
All right, we have Representative Brandon Gill.
Oh, wow.
Representative Brandon Gill is the youngest House Republican. He's a Dartmouth educated former investment banker. He co founded the conservative DC Inquirer, and he is married to conservative, I don't know, figure Dinesh D'Souza's daughter named Danielle.
Mhm.
So, looks wise, how do we feel about Brandon? Hot or
He-
not?
He kind of has a Clark Kent meets
Totally.
American Psycho thing going on.
This
Yeah,
photo
he's
in
a good
particular,
Yeah.
He's a good looking guy.
he's a good looking
Yeah.
guy.
and
The
his wife is attractive too.
okay,
Yeah.
well, thank you for throwing that in there, Anthony.
I
think
just
it's
felt
important.
like it's they're an attractive couple, which I think speaks to a lot of people when they sometimes vote for politicians.
Sure,
Yeah.
100%. So the policy thing that I wanted to bring up for him is that he actually introduced impeachment articles against two judges, Judge James Bousberg and so the piece of sort of legislation policy that I wanted to bring forth with him is that he introduced the Somalia Immigration Moratorium Act, which would restrict Muslim immigration, which is one of his signature issues. So how do we feel about his policy issues?
Not hot.
I think I like the impeachment judge thing. I don't like the kick out the Muslims thing. And yeah, I would
No.
say
As Anthony waves his American flag.
That's good. That's good. I need an American flag on my desk.
I do too.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. This is, fan fashion favorite, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Ah, yeah.
She serves New York 14th District, which is part of the Bronx and Queens. She was the youngest woman ever elected to Congress at 29. And as we all know, she's one of the most prominent progressive voices in the country. So looks-wise, how are we feeling about our girl?
Hot.
Love a Latina.
Say it one more
Yes,
time like that.
Yes, that was great. I think we would say a Latina.
Love a
said it.
spicy Latina.
Yes, getting spicy in here. Well, apropos to a recent episode that we had about data centers, AOC and Bernie introduced the AI Data Center Moratorium Act, which we actually talked about on that episode, which essentially would put a more national moratorium on data center construction until there is more research and understanding about how to build them safely and effectively for communities. So how do we feel about that policy position?
I think very hot on that policy position. I want to make a sort of prediction and kind of blanket statement on AOC
Okay.
because I think she's somebody we've talked a lot about. We've highlighted different ratings on her as far as efficacy of a congresswoman vis-a-vis how many bills or pieces of legislation that she's authored that have been passed. That number is very low. I think what's really interesting, when we look at all of the elections that happened in New York, the primary elections, and how many, Democratic Socialists of America candidates won. I think what is very notable here is how few of them how few of them she endorsed, and following their primary victories, how she has actually really started to begin to distance herself from this word socialism.
Do you think that's a 2028?
I think it is
setup?
1000% a 2028 setup, because she came right out and has endorsed Hakeem Jeffries as the speaker. She is absolutely starting to tack to the middle. How far she tacks, I think, remains to be seen. But, when you ask about her policy, I think one of the very fair critiques of AOC has been that she's a very loud, outspoken congresswoman who is effective in using getting her megaphone and her message heard. I think where she still has a very big question mark is, how is she as a legislator and as a policymaker and as that executive leader? And I think that's the thing we don't know yet. So I like seeing her take these big policy positions. It seems like she does a lot with Bernie. I think she needs to start doing big things with other people, because I think whether her hopes and aspirations are presidential, whether 2028 is her year or not, I think she definitely now has to step up to the plate, so to speak, in a way that I'm not sure we've seen her yet. And let me tell you, she's got the looks to do it.
I was gonna say you're veering a little bit away from my hot or not premise.
Well,
of this
but
episode,
I'm saying that, like,
but I
think,
appreciate the commentary.
I think we're kind
We
of
get what you're
entering
saying.
this
We get what you're
era
saying.
of, just going back to the hot or not thing. I kind of think we're entering an era right now where the American people are like looking for younger, attractive leaders. And
Correct.
maybe it's just that we've had a couple of really old ones. And by the way, I'm going to go on record and say, I think Joe Biden's kind
Joe
of
Biden,
sexy.
he was,
Kinda
I don't know if
sexy.
now, he was a hottie, definitely back in his
Yeah,
day.
like, guys
Yeah.
drives around in a Corvette, wears the aviators. His wife Jill is great. Like, Donald Trump.
All right, get
not
off of his
hot.
lap.
Yeah,
Michael.
seriously.
Gee.
All right. Let's move on to our next candidate here. Marie Gluesenkamp Perez. So
Okay.
she is an auto repair shop owner from Southwest Washington. She flipped a Trump district blue and won in 2022. And she is consistently one of the most bipartisan members of Congress. She's part of both the Blue Dog Coalition and the Problem Solvers Caucus. The Blue Dog Coalition is for center-left Democrats, and the Problem Solvers Caucus is a bipartisan group of moderate leaders from both sides of the aisle. So looks-wise, how are we feeling about our hippy-dippy hipster kind of Marie Gluesenkamp Perez?
It's not my vibe.
I cannot tell you the visceral reaction I have to bangs and how bad that reaction is. That
Oh my
being
God, I love
said,
it.
that being said, I think she's a really cute, attractive Portland vibes sort of
Yeah.
hipster.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna I want to see a new look from the bangs.
Okay.
Um,
That's fair.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, there's times when I've been researching her. I'm like, oh, she is really attractive, actually, but I
It's
just
true.
don't like her look.
It's not for
Yeah.
you. It's not for you. That's fine.
Yeah.
no.
Well, I wanted to bring up an interesting piece of legislation that she has championed called the Right to Repair legislation, which, she's from a very rural part of Washington. And she also, as I mentioned, was an auto repair shop owner. So she has a little bit of experience in this. And essentially, the Right to Repair would give consumers and independent technicians the access to the same tools and parts and everything that manufacturers use. So this legislation would cut out the need for the middleman, which often increases the price. And you're basically able to go to direct to warehouse to repair. It's not so much for cars. It's more for agricultural equipment, tractors and stuff like that, to try to bring costs down for farmers. So how do we feel about her legislation?
I think hot.
Yeah.
And interesting little side note, who got really rich off of being an automotive middleman is the Prince family, Eric Prince and Betsy DeVos, former education
Interesting.
secretary.
Wow.
Yes, they own Prince Auto. Their father started Prince Automotive. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Getting back to Marie, I think she's very hot from a policy and also future potential standpoint, because I think she has done something that many, many people, many politicians are trying to figure out right now, which is how do you, meet folks where they are
Mhm.
and like govern as a Democrat in a very divided area, and she's up in just north of Portland in Washington, and has a very split district. It's very blue collar, working class. Famously, Joe Kent, formerly of the Trump administration, ran against her and lost twice, I believe. So it's definitely one of these areas that is, I think, has bedeviled Democrats, and I think Marie has really shown a great ability to find a message that works with both Democratic voters and staunch Trump voters. And I think she's somebody that Democrats, if they want to win elections, need to take more pages out of her book, less pages out of the primaries that we saw in New York City.
Wow, spoken like a true moderate. I think
She
there's a lot of
looked
people
really
that,
good.
I think there's a lot of people that would disagree with you on that, Michael.
Well,
But moving on, next candidate we've got here is Representative Richie Torres, also from New
Richie.
York. So Richie represents New York's 15th district. He's the first openly gay Afro-Latino member of Congress. He represents the South Bronx. And it is actually, his district is the nation's poorest district by median income. And
wow. Well, that's not hot.
let me ask you before I get to his policy, hot or not? I mean, the jawline in this picture, I'd have to say,
Yeah, you really
is
picked
pretty
a
hot for me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I feel like, I don't know.
I think
This
he's a
is
good-looking
the best,
guy for sure.
I don't know
Yeah.
if this is the best picture.
I
But yeah.
like a jaw. This is a good jawline.
I think he's a good.
Yeah, we know where you were going for, Anna. So
Good jawline does a lot.
he's. I know he's gay, but is he single?
I don't know. That's a really good question. Richie,
Great
if you're out
question.
there, we're curious about your marital status.
We're-
But, the sort of big policy, which I'm going to stay away from because I know Michael will talk about it for like 10 minutes if I propose that, is his stance on Israel, which has, he's very pro-Israel, which has kind of gotten him into some hot
Yeah.
water with some more left-wing Democrats. But I wanted to actually show a different policy that is much simpler and very New York, which is the Bodega Act, which you better believe is BODEGA as the acronym for whatever the hell that stands for.
Love that.
And
hell yeah, they made an
it's-
acronym out of bodega.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
I should
That's so good.
probably look up what it is.
That's incredible. Oh, hell yeah.
But essentially, it would allow for security equipment for bodegas in New York City to be paid for, or bodegas everywhere to be paid for, so that people that work in these places that are often open 24 hours and maybe under hostile conditions would have the ability to feel safe.
What do you mean paid for? Like, I don't. What?
That it would be like that. They would be like a government. That the government would essentially install security equipment in bodegas.
Bodega Owner Defense Enhancement Grant Assistance.
Look at that.
Oh wow.
So it would be
Okay.
a grant for bodega owners that they could apply
to
for to
install
security
safety
equipment.
measures.
Yeah,
Correct.
protect from
I like
crime.
that. I like that a lot. I think
Very
that's
hot.
It says
Very hot.
installation of panic buttons. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what Anthony needs in that room of his.
I think what's
That
interesting.
the room you're in does have like panic room vibes.
It does. It really does.
Stop talking
think
about my
what's-
room.
I think what's interesting about Richie, and I think as you started to bring, I'm not going to get into like the Israel
Oh
stuff,
God.
but I think what is interesting, similar to AOC, is that he's managed to start to tack a little bit more to the middle from where I think he previously was, which was a very, left-leaning progressive Democrat. And I think he still is in many regards, but I think he also sees the value in that center recalibration as far as, okay, what is the future for Richie as a politician?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would call him even progressive because I saw when I was researching him a little bit more recently, he also voted for the Laken Riley Act, which was a big Republican proposal to kind of curb illegal immigration. I think that he's like someone who really splits his vote between more conservative positions like being so pro-Israel and being more progressive. But it's also important to note that one of the reasons he's so pro-Israel is there is a very large Jewish population in his district. So I think it's also an example of a representative serving the people that he represents, which
that's a great point.
you
I feel
can't
like
knock him for.
There's actually not enough of that, dare I say.
So speaking of people who doesn't really serve their district, let's move on to our next contestant here.
Ooh.
Representative Lauren Boebert.
Oh, yeah.
Lauren Boebert is a gun rights activist, and she's the former owner of Shooter's Grill. My favorite fun fact about Lauren Boebert.
Oh, did she sell it? She's no longer an owner?
I guess she has bigger
Oh,
and
went
better
out
things.
went out of
bigger-
business, guys.
It did?
Yeah.
Oh
Wow.
my God, I didn't know that. So the reason I was sort of saying that about her district is that she actually switched districts. I don't know if you guys knew this in 2024 from the 3rd district to the 4th district because the 4th district was a safer Republican seat, which I don't love that you're just like bailing on trying to work in a representative government. But anyway, looks wise, how do we feel about little girl Boebert here?
Spring break hot.
That's a good
Like
that's a good
spring
definition.
break, green light, let's go, let's have fun. I'm not taking her home no matter how many Jesus pieces she has dangling from her neck.
Anthony?
I think she would be fun.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't even think you have to think.
Yeah.
I think we know.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know she'd be fun. Yeah.
You know she'd
By
be
like
fun.
the day 5 of the spring break trip, you're like, oh my God, guys, Lauren is coming. She's here again.
I can't
Like
get rid of
everyone-
her. Yeah.
God, it's like 4 days in a row. She's got pina coladas in her hand. God.
Oh my gosh.
God,
Well,
I wish that
onto her-
happened.
Onto her policy position. So she actually introduced something called the Surveillance Accountability Act with Representative Thomas Massey, who's a fellow member of the Freedom Caucus with her. And it would require warrants for facial recognition and license plate reader searches. And I got to say, I think that's kind of a hot piece of legislation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's that well, I guess
No? You want to
don't-
live in a surveillance state?
No. I guess maybe it's like it's fine. I'd say it's an attractive. I don't think I'm ready to go. You're hot. You're on the calendar.
You're not taking her
shoot.
back from spring break.
I think she's still spring break
Definitely
for me.
not. Yeah.
Spring
yeah.
break looks, spring break policy.
Great. Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. And I
Mhm.
know that Michael's going to go gaga for this one.
Ooh, yes.
Representative Jake Auchincloss.
Nah, hot looks, hot policy. Next.
Moving on.
So
Moving
Jake is
on.
a Marine veteran. He's a former city council member from Newton, Massachusetts. And he is someone I would say that has a big presence on Fox News. And he
Mhm.
also is somebody that is constantly speaking about foreign policy. So I think he's a leading voice in that realm for sure. So, Anthony, do you agree looks wise? Is this your
Yeah,
kind of man?
No, I think he's like the classic East Coast type of guy.
Totally.
Like, probably, like tall, lanky, like smart, seems like he'd be a great husband type of guy.
Yeah.
So he's like the opposite of spring break. He's like
Pale.
bring home to parents. He's kind of pale.
I think I would say definitely attractive and has all the sort of all the right attributes for a future president.
Mm.
From a
Ah.
looks like comportment standpoint, all that. I think it's
Heard
like
it here
oh, okay.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Just get more white men in there. Well,
Amen, sister. Amen.
The policy that I thought I would highlight is that he introduced something called the Parents Over Platforms Act, and it would force app stores to enforce age-appropriate downloads for minors. And I think this is a pretty hot piece of legislation because I think that American teenagers are fucked because of what they have access to on their telephones.
I would
Mm.
agree.
Yeah. Hot.
All right.
Let me
moving on.
say that. Can I just add one thing about
Please,
Jake?
please, of
Because I
course.
think he's really
Get off his lap.
really strong voice that we're going to hear a lot from in the future years. I'm not sure that I still feel like he's young, and I feel like we're at a place where we've got a lot of really young feeling people in the Democratic Party. I'm thinking about Jake Auchincloss. I'm thinking about John Ossoff. I'm thinking about Pete Buttigieg, and even Wes Moore to a certain extent. But Wes Moore feels just a little bit older than those guys. And then you've got sort of that older tier of like Gavin Newsom, Andy Bashir, Josh Shapiro,
Mhm.
that age-wise.
Love
And
how
I
you
feel-
haven't said any women in any of these conversations. Continue.
Right. Anna Muskie Goldwyn, I think
Called
down
out.
I think in that Jake Auchincloss.
Not hot,
level.
Michael. Not hot.
Me?
Very hot.
No. I was saying, Michael, not saying any women. Not
That
hot.
is not hot. Okay, but finish your point. We have more people to get through.
My point is that I do think that I think his time is not yet.
Mhm.
And I think that if he were to sort of inject himself too much in 2028, he's gonna burn fast.
We want
that I
him when
think
he's a
he's-
little bit less hot than he is now.
I think he's just a little down the road. I think he's the next election cycle
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next contestant, Ilhan Omar. Representative, she's a Somali American refugee, one of the first 2 Muslim women in Congress. She represents Minneapolis, and she is the deputy chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Obviously, a very controversial figure in Congress, but personally, I think she's very beautiful.
I would agree. And I also would say that we have to be very careful what we say here, Anthony.
Yeah, no,
But
I actually,
What?
I actually
I
do
think-
think she is beautiful.
I think, I'm saying that I think 2 white men commenting on the looks of a Muslim woman. Yeah, in Congress is a little bit of a
Trapped ya.
a little bit of a minefield.
Gotcha.
No, I think she's hot.
Well, the legislation that I wanted to single out here is that she was the lead sponsor on the Universal School Meals Program Act with Bernie Sanders, which would provide
Mhm.
free school lunch meals to all students.
Very hot.
Very hot.
And she was hotter after I found out she stole the money from those social.
I'll say that I think the school lunch stuff is one of the biggest issues that we need to deal with,
and just
is
feels so simple. Like, I know that we have
So
to allocate money
simple.
towards it, but in terms of when you talk about the money that goes towards food stamps and SNAP and all of this stuff, like, if you were just able to have free school lunches, it would ameliorate all of those other issues.
who would vote against that? It's so
A lot of
literally
people.
which is insane. No, but that's what I think is insane. That 1 in 5 kids in New York City public schools are food. I don't know what they call it.
Insecure.
Like, food
Yeah,
insecure.
Food insecure, yeah.
Mhm.
And that's an embarrassing stat. That is a disgusting stat.
It's true.
And that is, when you go across the country, I think that's a really sad reality that a lot of our kids face. And I just think that is one of the bare minimum basic things that government and Congress should be doing.
Well, you know who might have voted against that is our next contestant. Actually, I don't know if that's true, but I feel like maybe. Representative Anna Paulina Luna. So Representative Luna.
She's got a Hogwarts thing going on here.
Okay, well, maybe not in this tie outfit.
Which is one of my favorite role plays.
She's an Air Force veteran, and she represents the St. Petersburg area of Florida. She's the first Mexican-American woman elected to Congress from Florida. I actually didn't know that she was of Mexican descent. I just knew she was Latina, but she's Mexican.
Really? Paulina Luna didn't give it away?
Well, I knew she was Latina, but I didn't know it was Mexican.
Okay.
And she's the chair of the task force on declassification of federal secrets, which I just threw in there
Oh.
because I thought it was like she's the one that's like, just tell us that there's aliens. That's her
Okay.
MO. So
Yeah.
on looks, how are we feeling?
I'm going to respectfully pass. I just does not do
Wow,
it
I'm
for me.
surprised. I think she's
Yeah.
very pretty. Anthony?
Yeah, it does not
I
do
think
it
she's
for
hot.
me.
I think she's hot.
Yeah.
It's the Michael's thrown by the tie that in this photo that I chose.
There's just something going on here.
You
Bring
know
back,
she also
bring back Ilhan.
she also was a Maxim model.
Yeah,
Well,
she
that's
was.
okay. I'll reconsider.
Yeah, I actually couldn't find
Where are
it.
Michael
those
still-
photos?
I know.
Anna, why aren't you
Sorry.
showing those photos?
Michael still has that in his
Yeah,
childhood room.
Oh
I
my
got
god.
the posters hung up.
But she also legislatively that she is one of the people leading the push to vote on the End Congressional Stock Trading Act,
That is hot. That is hot. That is
Super
very
hot.
which Mike Johnson will not put up for a vote.
Not hot.
some
Mike
reason.
Johnson, not hot.
So
Mike
not
Johnson
hot.
did
not
not make
hot.
the list.
No, thank goodness. Yeah.
Okay. Next up is someone we haven't talked about very much.
Oh, wow.
This is Juan Ciscomani. He is an Arizona
Hmm.
Republican. This is really interesting. He's the first naturalized American citizen from Mexico elected to Congress.
Whoa.
So he was born in
interesting.
Mexico, became an
Yeah.
American citizen, and now he's in Congress and the first one. Pretty interesting.
Out
And
of
he's
on
a-
the Republican
He's
side,
a
or
No,
Republican
in
from
general.
Arizona, right?
but he is a Republican
Yeah.
from Arizona, but he's the
Yeah.
first.
that's kind of crazy in
naturalized-
general.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's a former advisor to Governor Doug Ducey, and he represents a very competitive Tucson area district. And fun fact, he actually delivered the Spanish language Republican response to Biden's 2023 State of the Union, which
Wow.
was really in the midst of the Republican push to try to court more Latino voters. So
And it had
looks-
17 listeners, I was told.
looks wise, how do we feel about Juan?
I think he's got some Silver Fox vibes going on here.
I'm into the
Yeah.
Silver Fox vibes in it.
Yeah.
I did used to date it. I did used to date a guy named Juan, and when we broke up, my friend said to me, "Well, he was not the Juan."
How did I not see that coming? That's so
feels
bad. but
slightly
so great.
racist.
Oh, that's so
no,
good.
it's just a
You know,
word
there's
for
a great breakfast place in Austin, Texas called Juan and a Million. And
Oh, yeah.
Juan is the guy who's there shaking everyone's hand as they come in.
amazing.
Now, whenever I meet a person named Juan, I'm going to
Yeah.
be thinking of what I can use
All the
his name in.
puns. Well, this Juan, Representative Ciscomani,
Juan Day.
he introduced a bipartisan piece of legislation called the Shine Act, which would streamline residential solar permitting, which I
Wow.
think is quite
Yes.
hot, especially for
Hot.
an Arizona representative.
Hot.
And a Republican.
Well, I think that like what we're seeing, especially like with this housing bill that Trump has, decided he doesn't care about anymore. But a big part of that is that I think where we're going to start to see a lot of bipartisan agreement over the next couple of years is around like these sort of more liberal ideas, something like affordable housing, something like solar panels, but the sort of conservative injection into that legislation is the removal of red tape. So I think that like you're going to see Republicans and Democrats coming together to try to do things that will reduce costs, that are maybe more progressive ideas, but they're actually incorporating more traditional conservative mechanisms like removing bureaucracy, like pulling away regulation for building and stuff like that. So I think that this bipartisan solar panel thing is all about how do we make it easier to install solar panels, which part of that is removing, I assume, regulation to do so. So I think that that'll be a trend
feel
going
like
forward.
Juan Ciscomani feels like the Univision Mike Pence.
That's a
like,
great comparison.
Yeah. They're like, the two of them are like, oh,
No
okay.
comment.
Yeah.
Moving on, Representative Governor Hopeful John James from Michigan.
John James.
He is an Iraq War Apache. God, I can't speak. An
Appalachia.
Iraq War. I'm really just mixing things here. An Iraq War Apache helicopter pilot. He's West Point graduate, and he represents the Detroit suburbs. And he has tried to run for Senate in Michigan twice unsuccessfully, but he is currently running for governor and hoping for a different result. And I gotta say, for me, he's not like the hottest guy in the world. And I was trying to find a good picture for this, but this man is like very buff. And I was, so that's why I just like a a guy with some meat on his bones. And yeah. So that's my
he
pick.
had you at traps.
No,
He trapped
comment
me at
again.
traps.
I think he's a good looking guy. I think he's a good looking guy in the way that Jake Auchincloss is like handsome, like good looking,
hmm
good, like, oh yeah, okay, I see his face on a poster.
Yeah, like good to take home to mom and dad.
Yeah,
wholesome,
for sure.
wholesome,
For
hot.
sure. Very wholesome.
Yeah,
The
wholesome
pictures
hot.
of his family are very wholesome as well.
Yeah.
Well, I loved this piece of legislation. He introduced the Protecting America's Working Dogs Act of 2026, which would
okay.
expand protections for law enforcement and military service dogs.
Cool.
Mm.
Well, we know how you feel about that, Anna.
So hot.
Hot.
Hot for a dog.
Hot.
Yeah. So just to remind me, he is a Republican.
He's a
and
Republican.
Ran for Senate, lost, is now running for governor to
Correct.
replace Gretchen Whitmer.
Correct.
And by the way, just to go back to something I said earlier, I left Gretchen Whitmer off my list of presidential hopefuls.
She's in
because
the
she
Josh
says-
Shapiro, but she said she's
Yeah.
not running for president.
She said she's not running for president, so that's why I took her off the list. But I think Gretchen
Liar.
Whitmer,
She didn't
By the
say
way-
she's not running for VP.
that's true, and I think she's very hot. By the way, for
She
the
is hot.
record,
She is hot.
I'm into Whitmer.
Okay. You're
Yeah.
okay.
Gretch, I'm here for you, Gretch.
We've got a few more and then we'll wrap it up. Next
Okay.
one. Representative Jasmine Crockett
Ooh,
serving some look here in this photo.
Yeah, she looks great, honestly.
Wow.
So Jasmine Crockett has definitely built a national profile. She's a civil rights attorney, former state representative from Texas, and she is definitely one of the most viral Democratic voices on social media.
yeah.
She did, however, as we all know, lose the Texas Senate Democratic primary to James Tallarico earlier this year. And because of that, she didn't file for re-election in the House. So she will just be serving out her term and TBD what is next.
Interesting.
But looks wise, I think I just think she serves.
Yeah. She is hot, and also, like, no way am I crossing her because she will take my head off.
She's hot
then
and
some.
scary.
Yes. Like, she is like the baddie on Love Island who's like, do not fuck with me, boys. Yeah.
I am
Anthony,
interested to see where she goes next.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I thought was really interesting, I mean, she's known for so many things, but this one I had never known, is that she's one of the leading voices pushing to legalize fentanyl testing strips, which kind of was like out of left field, but pretty hot policy, if you ask
hot
me.
policy. Hot Paul.
Hot Paul. Okay.
Hot
Oh, that's,
Paul.
but, excuse me, episode title, Hot Pauls.
Obviously. Amazing. Wait,
Nice.
there we go. Hey, we should do that thing where we come up with titles in real time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have our last member of the House, and then I have 3 spicy senators for you, and then we're done.
Ooh,
So
what?
last one from the House, and this is like a little bit of a curveball. Someone we also haven't talked about a lot, but I think an important person to focus on leading up to the midterms, and that is Representative Derek Tran. So
Ah.
Derek Tran is a representative from California. He's an Army veteran, and he flipped his district from red to blue. It was formerly representative by Representative Michelle Steele. He came
Mhm.
into office in 2024, and this actually surprised me. He's the first Vietnamese American to represent California in Congress. And
Wow.
the reason I said that thing about the midterms is that he actually holds one of the most competitive seats in the country going into 2026. So I think we will be hearing a lot
Interesting.
more about him. But I think Derek Tran's got some like dad hot vibes.
Yeah. I would agree. Attractive, wholesome dad.
Yeah, wholesome dad vibes
Yeah.
for sure.
Looks like young and energetic, honestly.
You know what it
And
is?
he's-
He's like the California version of Jake Auchincloss
Oh, that's interesting.
in terms of
Hmm.
like hot young dad vibes. I think.
Well, how young is he? He doesn't
Well,
look
he's
that young
older
in
than
this.
he's
Yeah.
older than Jake. He's 45, but I think
Yeah.
in terms of like the stereotype of sort of like a hot dad, Jake is like the Massachusetts hot dad, and I feel like Derek Tran is like the SoCal hot dad. Anyway, the piece of legislation that I wanted to put forward for him is he introduced something called the PBM Reform Act, which is a bipartisan bill that would eliminate prescription drug middlemen, which
Mm.
I think we need a lot more of in this country.
Hot, hot, hot.
You've
Yeah.
really talked about a lot of interesting
Yeah.
legislation.
It's almost
that-
like I'm just the smartest one of the group sometimes.
It's almost
Sure,
like that.
We'll give that to you
Yeah.
since you're.
Okay, heading into the Senate, we have 3 senators.
Great. When are you going
And
to
you-
show us an ugly person?
Well, those
Yeah.
are my hot people. There are no hot.
Oh, you
If
were
I
just
did it-
showing your hot list.
I want to see some
This is my
uglies.
hot list, and I wanted to see if you agreed. Well, I can
Agreed.
tell you who's not ugly. Senator John Ossoff.
There he is.
Oh,
There he is.
jeez, what a-
Superman from the Peach State.
So John Ossoff
hate
is the
this guy.
first. So jealous of John Ossoff. He is the first millennial U.S. senator and the youngest sitting senator. He's a former investigative journalist. He became the first Jewish senator from the Deep South in nearly 50 years when he was elected. And of course, as we've talked about on recent episodes, He is in one of the most watched Senate races in the country for Georgia's Senate seat. Sort of to your point about AOC, Michael, he is actually the opposite, where he has passed more standalone bills than any other freshman senator in his first 2 years in the
kind
Senate.
of amazing.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
really hot.
And the legislation that I thought I would highlight is that he is one of the champions of the Right to Vote Act, which would establish a first ever statutory federal right to vote, which essentially would mean making voting a national holiday, putting in federal protections for voters, things like that, which I think is super hot.
You know, one really annoying thing about Senator Ossoff is like as soon as you mention his name, like the first thing women say is like, oh, so hot. So, like, not even like, who is it? Just like, oh, so
Yeah.
hot.
Everyone
you know?
knows. Everyone
Yeah.
knows. Okay,
Listen,
well,
that's currency in our world,
it is.
gang.
Also hot senator from the other side of the aisle, we've got Senator Tim Sheehy from Montana.
Oh, wow.
Different kind of hot. So
Okay.
Tim
Mountain hot.
Sheehy,
This
yeah,
feels like
this is-
Anna hot. This is
Yeah.
like Anna's type here.
for sure. This would
Yeah.
be, I feel like Ossoff was my type when I was like 23. And then now this is my type. More
Okay.
like mountain man vibe.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tim Sheehy is a former Navy SEAL. He was the founder of a big aerospace company, which I didn't know. And he defeated 3-term Democrat Senator John Tester in 2024 and flipped this Senate seat to red. And
Yep.
it became at the time, it was the most expensive Senate race per voter, since Montana is a
Wow.
pretty low population state, in U.S. history. And he now serves as the youngest Republican senator. So is he your guys' type, or you like a little less meat on the bones?
I mean, objectively, he's hot. Wonder, it's interesting. I look at him and I think San Diego. I don't think Wyoming. And obviously
Montana,
Navy SEAL,
Montana.
or Montana. Right.
He's very charismatic. I've spoken with him before, and when he was running his other company, he had they used to fly planes over wildfires.
Yeah, it's an
and
aerial
get,
firefighting
yeah.
company. It's
Yeah.
called Bridger Aerospace.
yeah,
And you liked him, Anthony?
yeah. He was great, fantastic to talk to. So
Well, the legislation is he's one of the lead sponsors of the bipartisan, to his previous occupation with the aerial firefighting, of the Fix Our Forests Act. And this is in the Senate, Senator Hickenlooper, who is from Colorado, a Democrat. And it is a legislation to overhaul federal forest management for wildfire risk reduction.
Wow. Hot. Very hot.
Literally hot, right?
Yeah.
Literally on fire.
PSA to my friends out in Utah, they are having a
I saw
serious,
that. Oh my God.
insane fire situation. And I think the number is like 200,000 acres have
Oh
burned.
my God.
Yeah.
It's the biggest, it's like the
nuts.
biggest one
Yeah.
in history or something.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's
that kinda
really, really bad.
is that close to Salt Lake?
Yeah. Yeah. It's shockingly close. Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm going out there for a wedding next week. And I was wondering, like, hey, is this like, are
Oh,
we gonna
God.
be like, it's an outdoor
Yeah.
wedding on the top of a mountain. I'm like, are we gonna be inhaling smoke?
Ooh,
What's
yeah.
happening? Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
rough.
Not ideal.
All right. Well, last on our list here, and then we can wrap things up, is Senator Katie Britt.
Ah.
I don't know if this is the best photo of her, but I feel like this depicts what I imagine she wants her personality to be.
Yeah.
that's
I
why
think
I
she's
picked
like,
it.
I think she's hot mom.
She's like
vibes.
cute.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like, similar in the like the hot dad category.
Yeah.
I put her in the hot mom category.
So you're a MILF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, side note, have you guys seen a picture of her and her husband? Like, I think
No,
she's
I
pretty
thought you were about
short.
to ask me if I've hooked up with a MILF.
I don't want to know the answer to that. But
I think our listeners might.
have you?
No comment. I do not recall, Senator.
But Katie Britt's husband is like, I think he was a football player. I think they met in college. And he's like one of the largest human beings I've ever seen. And
wow.
she
Yeah,
seems
he's
like
huge.
she's really tiny.
Okay,
so
we
whenever
need to
there's
look this up. Katie
whenever
Britt.
there's pictures of them together, it's pretty funny. But anyway, Katie Britt is the former chief of staff to Senator Richard Shelby.
Oh my God, listener!
Wait, let me see if I can
I'm-
add a picture in here.
My goodness, I'm looking this up in real time. I've never seen a photo of this gentleman, and holy fucking July 4th fireworks show! This is a hilarious pairing. Wow. Oh my God.
It's a real mismatch. A real
Wow.
mismatch.
Or
Here,
hey,
wait.
opposites attract.
I'll throw one up there.
Wow.
Hold on, I can.
That is not what I was expecting.
So
Wow.
this Katie and Wesley Britt.
Wow.
I bet she likes to climb that tree.
Oh my God, Anthony. All right, let me tell you a little bit more about her. So
I think we've heard all we can.
she became the youngest Republican woman ever elected to the Senate in 2022. And she actually does a lot. I've been trying to focus mainly on positive policies in case you guys didn't recognize that trend. But
Yeah,
she
we
has done a
noticed.
lot for
Yeah.
trying to work in a bipartisan manner, specifically on maternal health and women's health. And she championed the NIH Improve Act, which would help fund and expand women's health research.
And that's
Which
so incredible
is
that the
so
Trump
hot.
administration and
Yeah.
DOJ basically cut all of NIH funding. So
I mean, there's so
my
much of this, like,
question,
yeah.
I'm not going to give her that's hot because I want her to ask. I want her to answer, oh, okay, if the NIH is so important to you, then why did you vote
Yes.
to allow DOJ to get rid of it?
Good for
So
you,
I'm
Michael,
not
holding her
I'm not
feet to the
gonna-
fire.
Yeah. Then I'll tell you, that is hot.
MILF would not like to fuck until we
Yeah.
get more NIH funding.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
A NILF.
Well, we're running out of time because I'm sure people have just, they can't wait to go look up these people more and like really decide for themselves. And we will post a full list of my hottest members of Congress on our social media in case you feel like you need to go back and review them. But before we wrap up, because it's July 4th, I wanted to just get your guys' take because I saw this Gallup poll that only 53% of Americans now feel very proud to be American. And there has been a significant drop over the last decade, which I wonder why and how that could be.
Wow.
But what do you guys think about patriotism in the conversation, especially on the left, I would say, as we get into the 4th of July?
Well, I think I was thinking about this question a little bit, and it occurred to me that, I want to make a distinction about a question that I think a lot of people ask, which is, what does it mean to be an American? And I think that the better question that we actually should be asking is, what does being an American mean to you? And I think that the answer to what it means to be an American should be the same for everybody. It should be what our laws and constitution and values and what does it actually mean is the same for everybody. And I think that the tragedy of the division that we're in right now stems from the fact that everybody's answering that first question, what does it mean to be an American, differently. They're bringing their partisan beliefs into that answer. They're bringing their, I'm for this, but I'm not for that. That's not what that question is. That question is, what is America? And what does America mean to you is where I think you can answer in that more, detailed, nuance, perhaps partisan way. And so when I think of like, okay, it's the 250th anniversary. This is an incredibly patriotic holiday. We have just seen this shamble of a state fair held in Washington trying to honor that. And I think of like, okay, so why, and that stat that you just quoted, why is that stat so low? I think it's because everybody is answering, what does it mean to be an American? Wrong and different. And they're answering that as, what does it mean to me? And I think we have to get back to the first part of that question, which is, the answer is all the same. It allows us to answer the second question however the hell we want. And that's ultimately what it means to be an American. And I hope that for the 250th, at least for the day, people can start to like recalibrate, oh, okay, why are we fighting with each other? Let's like fight less. Because I think life is better if you fight less. Ask any married person, ask any colleague, coworker, like, is shit great when you're fighting or is shit great when you're not fighting? I think the answer is the latter.
Yeah. Anthony?
Well, I don't think anyone is perfect. Maybe me. But I think when they were writing the Declaration of Independence, it wasn't a declaration that America was perfect, right? But it was talking about how America was worth building. And I think 250 years later, like, it's still a challenge, obviously. We're a very young nation when you look at it. And I think regardless of the party, the question is whether, like, we obviously have flaws, but are we all still in it together to keep improving it? And I think most people would agree that America is still the country that they would bet on, that they would be worth improving. I mean, we are the largest economy in the world. I think there's a lot of things we need to get right. Like, our tipping culture is just outrageous, right?
That's what you're going to focus on.
That's what I'm going to, but I don't know. And that always makes me feel pretty patriotic. And I think 4th of July is a time that everyone has a really fun time and gets pretty drunk. And I think everyone needs to have a really fun time right now. So
I think that's
have
true.
fun.
I think, like, let it be fun. And I would just add to, I agree with what both of you guys said. I think, though, what also is patriotism is recognizing that we have the ability to be critical of our country. And I think it actually was something that Jared Christian, one of the politicians we interviewed recently, said, where he said, I'm incredibly patriotic. And I think the most patriotic thing you can do is hold your government accountable. And I think that, I have a lot of friends who, are on the left and obviously feel disenfranchised with the Trump administration and some of the policies. And I think that, to your point, Michael, like, that might make people feel like they don't want to be patriotic. But I actually think that feeling resistance to your government is, like, inherently what America is and was founded on. It was founded on resistance to government.
Yeah.
And so I think that none of us, no matter who's in office, who's the president, who controls Congress, who's your governor, whatever, that if you want to live here and participate in society, that, you don't have to fly an American flag outside your house if you don't want to. But I think that, like, to have some patriotism and pride in where you live should be the goal for all of us.
I'm so sorry, Anthony. Are we keeping you awake?
No, I'm clapping.
Oh, okay.
That's my
It was
call.
just that
He's
you were-
doing the Gen Z clap.
The Gen
It's
Z
just that
clap.
you were yawning and it looked like you were falling asleep. But
It's
Anthony's
it's-
always falling asleep.
Yeah.
Anthony needs his 4th of July drinks.
Yeah. On that note, great to be with you guys. And for listeners out there, don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Follow us on Instagram as well as YouTube, because you can then see our beautiful faces along with the beautiful politicians we just talked about. Happy 4th, everybody.
The hot politicians we just talked about.
Happy 4th.